Hi, Meryl. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, now today we are going to do the ratio analysis. So ratio analysis, we are going to do the strategic way of ratio analysis. So students, now the first thing, I have already done the calculation. And one more thing, I just want to make sure that when you are calculating, there may be some differences, that's fine. But the objective of today's session is generally analysis rather than technical calculation correct. So students, now if you see Snack Wheel and Munch Bike, they have given the two organizations together. So Snack Wheel and Munch Bike, they have effectively given. So the revenue growth compared with us, Munch Bike is doing better. So Meryl, what do you think the reason do you think so? What is the aspect you are thinking? Why does Munch Bike is having a better revenue growth compared with us? You're on mute.
So maybe they are using the dark kitchen facility.
No. Jay Ganesh, anything that you like to share?
Maybe
Yamini?
they have so many outlets,
No, no,
restaurants.
no. Uh, Yamini, anything you like to share?
I'm still thinking. So
Abhiraj, anything you observe why is Munch Bike is having a better revenue compared with us in the growth aspect only? So students, be very careful here because you are in the managerial level, no more you are in the strategic level. So outlets and dark kitchen all are general factors you are saying. But other than that, there are very important things to be observed.
They're using up customer data and selling it to other
No,
parties.
no,
Oh.
no, that's not specific to the case. Okay. Okay, so the correct answer is students. Now, if you see, the revenue growth has always a direct relationship with the number of couriers. Now, in this case study, they have clearly mentioned specifically, a specific blog detail is given by the couriers. Now, if you turn to the page number 29, you will effectively see students that the independent couriers are saying that they are earning better in Munch Bike because it's very easier for them to log in and log out. And they can just log in and log out and do the courier as much as possible. So students, one thing I have clearly observed in this case is Munch Bike is having a better flexibility towards the independent drivers. So that is one major reason for them to have a better growth. Because he's mentioning I logged into Munch Bike delivery app at 3 and was given the job within how many minutes? 2 minutes. So that itself clearly shows how fast they are in. But if you see independent, they need to download a separate app, if I'm not mistaken. Now you see here, Munch Bike is using the delivery app for the drivers as well. But if you observe our company, that is Snack Wheel, they are using a special app for the drivers. Jay, did you observe that? We have a special app for the drivers. Are you clear with that, Jay?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
the
sir.
thing here is students, you need to make sure it's very clear that the processing time is mostly affected with the revenue. So one thing I can generally say why the revenue has grown is Munch Bike. Now that is our competitor students. So observe it very carefully. Munch Bike is having a very user friendly system to the independent courier. Students, remember this, independent couriers are, I can say, the major components of this business chain. Okay, independent courier, where they can directly they can directly log in using the same app for the delivery too. So you have the option to be a driver, or you have the option to be a customer as well. So this is one reason this is very much efficient at the moment. So students, now if you look at the dark kitchen facilities all, that's correct. The outlets all, that's correct. But the thing is, there is a small lagging factor because we have a separate dedicated app for our drivers. So I will just write that also so that it will be very clear. In contrast, I'll write down here Snack Wheel has more rigid process for the independent driver students. You get this point of view very, very clearly, because one thing, there is a good thing and a bad thing as well. The rigid process will always have a cyber security comparatively, not only cyber security, plus all other securities as well, including the personal security of the customers also. Because here the speed is very high, but we do not know about the security at the moment. So students, any points that you like to let me know, you can let me know. But if you are fine with this, students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Meryl, are you clear with this analysis?
Yes, sir. Sir, can we write one more point that Munchbike is offering and utilizing the extra hours, peak hours, where no
Of
other
course.
delivery is,
Correct. That also can be concerned, but very specifically, what we need to be concerned is this app. Because of this only, they are utilizing all the facilities. Are you clear with that, Meryl?
Yes, sir.
So now coming into this, now if you see the operational profit growth is just 13.85, and if you see here the operational profit growth is 40.92. Sorry, the operational cost growth is 40.92, the cost. And if you see the operational cost of our company is just, I can say, coming to 13.85. So students, what do you think? Why their operational cost is generally higher in the increment? Anything that you can think? Why Munch Bike is having a very high? So what we can do, we can just go through the numbers so that even it will be clearer for you when you are making the decision. Now see 523,737 for Munch Bike. And if you observe the growth analysis for Snack Wheel, it's just 100 change, but here it's more than 100 students. It has gone from 523 to 737. So effectively the growth is among 214. So I'm just asking this question, why do you think that Munch Bike group would have had a higher growth in the operating cost?
Sir, maybe the snack wheel is not paying or not incurring the cost for contract couriers, and they are asking them to run on their own expense, and that's why
Okay.
they are able to save operating costs.
Okay, but I'm asking for Munch Bike. Let's think about for Munch Bike specifically rather than this. This is very clear, no students. This is very clear, but we need to be very much concerned about why Munch Bike is having a higher growth in the operating cost. That is very much important, students. Very much important when considering these factors. Now, Meryl, do you see the software?
Yes,
Software 1620 in 2020 and 1752 in 2021.
right.
So, do you see there is some investment taking place in the software? Because
Yes.
software is like their house at the end of the day. Like, this is the main thing. If software gets some crashed, everything is gone. Agree? Now,
Yes.
if you see the software consideration of this organization, I don't think there's a huge difference compared with, I can say, Munch Bike. Do you get the point what I'm saying? So here it's just a movement of, I can just say, around, I can go with 87. The movement is somewhere around 87. But if you see here, the software change, the movement here is effectively going towards 132.
32.
So students, it's almost the double the size of the change in the software. So my question to the class is, the software cost they have incurred is very high. So Meryl, what do you think when the software cost is going at a higher, do you think we will have like amortization, everything? What do you think? Of course, right? There
Yes.
may be high level of amortization and initial setup run cost will be very high. So can I say one thing, just a understanding point of view, that Munch Bike is more concerned about growth. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because you see the software companies which are growing will always have a higher cost growth as well. But if you see our organization, that is, I can say Snack Wheel, their growth is comparatively less. Now, in this, if you put it in a cash flow statement, we just say this as an investing activity, correct? Which is an investing activity. Now, if you see the investing activities are really good in this moment. This can be specifically on the cyber risk. That can be one part as well. And another point of view, can you remember it was specifically mentioning about the speed? Because if you generally see our software, some software part has been taken by a third party also, correct? But here, I don't feel so there is only third party. There can be something related to an in-house development as well. Yes or no, Meryl? You get the
Yes, sir.
point what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Jay Ganesh, are you clear with that explanation about the software change? Just want to ask.
Yes, sir.
Students, any other point of view you like to say, you can say, but I am being very much towards the strategic level. Whatever the answers you are saying is correct. Now, Meryl, the answers you told is correct, but in the strategy point of view, it is insufficient to score the marks. You get what I'm saying, Meryl?
Yes,
So
sir.
I will write down here the next point of view. The operating cost now, it is 40.92 and here 13.85. Munch Bike, so I'll just write down here, Munch Bike is heavily investing in software, which is the terminal asset. Correct, no students? In a business like this, the terminal asset is the software. If the software get crashed, entire sales may go down. So that is the terminal asset. Further, they are also concerned of the growth. They are also concerned of the growth where they are willing to take risk. They are willing to take risk as well. So we will do a contrast also. So I'll just write down the contrasting, because you see only 13.85. In contrast, Snackwheel is investing on maintenance of existing software only. Are you clear with that, Meryl? Yes or no? Are you
Yes, sir.
getting this understanding? Jay Ganesh, any questions you have, you can ask me. Is it okay, Jay?
Yes, sir. It's fine.
It's fine. So students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you are clear with this? Because this 40.92 has a very close relationship with the software investments. Because software investments are very critical at the moment. but other company is doing even better in the investment, and also the independent courier drivers are very much satisfied with the speed of actions they are taking. So coming to the operating profit at the moment, so 30%, 1.63 minus. So you see here, let's go through this one. So when you see the operating profit of Snackville, it is growing, that we can observe that Merrill, there is a growth, we can see 340 to 442, 102. Okay.
30%.
Coming to the our other company, that is the Munch Bike, if you see the profits are reducing effectively, I can say by it's
Six.
by six there is a drop. Now students, now let's be very practical at the moment. There is a drop by 6, but the other organization is growing far better. So the concern here arises, why there is a drop. Now that is a very big question. And if you see our organization, revenues are less compared with this, but here the profit is reducing, but there the profit is not reducing. So what is the observation? Y'all can just think about it. So coming into the application, so Merrill, very I can say practical and very much I can say strategic oriented numbers. So one company is going towards negative profits, other companies going with the high level of operational profits increase. So what do you think at the moment? What do you think?
So the
Practical?
return on investment is not up to the mark
No,
from Munch Bike.
no, that is not the correct point of view. Jay Ganesh, anything that you like to add upon?
So currently they may be having some losses, but in future they'll be, because of those investments, they can reap some
Definitely.
profits.
Definitely. So can I say this 1.63 is not a, I can say is not a realization of loss. It's just an investment loss. Investment loss means, can you remember, Merrill, when Uber Eats started in Bangalore, they were giving at 1 rupee delivery charge. Can you remember that when
Yes,
they introduced it? So
yes, sir.
Uber should have definitely made a loss during that time, and Food Panda would have definitely made a higher operating profit that time, correct? But when the reach increases, ultimately they will grow better. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Meryl? That
Yes,
means this 1.63 loss can be compensated with the data they receive from the courier drivers and also from the customers and also from the restaurants. Are you clear with that, Meryl?
yes, sir.
So students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? First of all, because get this clearly, this 1.63 is a loss. I agree with you, but it's an investment type of loss. You give it just to make sure that you collect the data, because data is one of the most important thing. Can you remember, Merrill, in the risk analysis, they have mentioned that at the end of the day, the data remains with the app. Can you remember that, Merrill? It
Yes,
was
sir.
so students get this understanding very clearly. So I will write down here the application first. So it's very interesting as well, students. It's a new business also. Munch Bike has made a loss, but this cannot this cannot be considered as a negative factor, since they are second movers, correct, Meryl? They are not the first mover, they are the second mover. And Truck Bites is the third mover, correct? No? Second
Yes, sir.
mover. They are investing heavily. They are investing heavily on softwares to make sure that they collect data effectively. They collect data effectively. Are you clear with what I'm saying there, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
get this understanding very clearly, because it's very much important and very much, I can say, practical here. So I will just write down another application point. So I'll just mention here. understanding. So I'll just write down a note. In contrast, the profit growth of Snack Wheel may be higher, but in the long run, there are some concerns. There are some concerns. Students get this understanding very clearly because it is very much essential and important. Now, the next thing, students, I want to give you that Uber Eats example. So I'll write down here Uber Eats in Bangalore started with 1 INR delivery charge. 1 INR delivery charge. This is to collect data, and later they expanded well. Students, software sector is like this only, going very long term type of businesses, not short term, very long term oriented business. Meryl, even if you see Netflix, everything goes with that. They would have made losses in the initial terms, but that's okay.
Yes, sir.
So students, coming to the finance cost. Now, if you see there is a growth of 12.12 and here there's a drop of 11.11. Technically, that is easy because if you see students, Munchbike had a loan repayment. Do you see that, students? Because from 991, they have repaid 960. So there is a 31 repayment. So anyway, when there is a loan repayment, there is a tendency that the borrowing cost will reduce. Is that fine, Meryl?
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down here the next question. It's very simple. So I'll write down here. The repayment of loan by Munchbike has resulted in the reduction of interest cost. And one more thing, Meryl, just to make it very clear as well, even finance cost for Snack Bike, they have taken loan, correct? So
Yes, sir.
in contrast, Snack Wheel has taken additional borrowing. Get this understanding very clearly, students. They have taken the additional borrowing. That is very important at the moment, students. Get this application very well, because there are huge differences from the previous case to this case as well. Now, coming to the profit before tax, also this company is having a high and this one is having a low profit before tax. Effectively, Meryl, the concept of investment, you understand what I'm saying there. So I'll
Yes,
write
sir.
down once again the basic idea. The reduction in Munchbike, is mainly because of the investments in the systems, and in case if they manage effectively, they can also capitalize in the future. So even if you see, one major factor is our competitors' investments are better than us. That is one more understanding. And the taxation, again, you see it is growing up. But here the taxation remains at a constant amount because effectively it's coming to a loss only. So I'll write down here taxation. Anyway, these are technical judgment. So taxation is closely related to the profit before tax. So that is the ideology there. And profit before tax, again, the answer for the year. So profit for the year, the investment in softwares. The investment in software played the critical role. That is the main understanding. Played the critical role. Played the critical role. Meryl, are you clear with these explanations at the moment? So students, very
Yes, sir.
much important thing you need to remember is the software. If you, in case the software goes out, the entire thing will collapse, students. If the software goes out, the entire thing will collapse. So students, any questions you have, you can ask me. If you are fine with this explanation, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? If you are fine with this explanation, can I please get a Y in the chat box? Just wanted to ask from Jay. One question I have.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jay,
Yeah,
I want to ask now, if you see the last case study that was specifically on the industry of, I'm not mistaken, it was
gaming.
game.
Gaming.
And you see this one. Do you see a huge difference, Jay? There is a
Sir,
huge
your voice is not audible.
there is a huge difference in all the cases. So be very careful, students, because when you are referring the past papers,
Sir, by the way,
I think you have a problem. Okay, so Meryl, I believe I'm clear. If I'm not mistaken, is am
Yes,
I?
sir.
Yes,
You are
yes.
audible, sir.
So coming back to the application of the ratios, before I start moving into the ratios, I want to say one thing. Now the beta factor they have given in the case study is 0.7. Now technically, if you see in F3, they say if the beta is more than 1, the shares are high risk. But that's wrong actually in business sense. The beta, when it is coming closer to 1 itself, is high risk. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Meryl? You get the
Yes, sir.
point, because students get the understanding very well. Now if you see, one means the market risk is equal to the stock risk, but if it is less than 1, they say the stocks are less riskier. If it is more than 1, it is more riskier. But there is something called margin of safety. Margin of safety. Now if you see, Meryl, 0.7 reaching to 1, is that a bigger challenge, or simply in case of some disruption it can go to 1? Some disruption it can go to 1. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So technically, even though this is lower risk, considering the industry, considering the software industry, because anyone can come into this, any new player can come into this. So I'll write down here, threat of new entrant, because students get this point of view. Threat of new entrant is a very bigger issue for this organization. Threat of new entrant can effectively cause something. Example, Meryl, now can you remember, now in this case study they mentioned in 1990, originally the home delivery started through a burger chain. That was
Yes,
how
sir.
they started it. That was very clear. Now, currently, if you see, they are connected with all the restaurants, like the pizza to burger to sandwich to chicken to bakery items. Now, there are situations that these people who are interconnected to snack wheel can come to a cartel and then say, let's all eliminate snack wheel and we can form our own app with less transaction cost and delivery cost. Is that possible, Meryl? Just a practical point of view.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So students, in that case, anyone can do, because software is not a bigger challenge. But the data is an issue, but still there are tendency, anything can happen anytime. So students get this point of view. Yes, we are at 0.7, but I don't think that we can also move. Now, a classic example, Meryl, the highest range of price. Now, if you see in this chart what is given, now you see clearly where is the highest point. The highest point in this chart is falling at somewhere around 37. Shall I make it? Okay, somewhere around 37. And let's see the lowest possible point that has affected. That is here. The lowest possible point that has hit is this range. Okay. So this range is effectively coming to 25. Correct, Meryl? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
So from 37 to 25, if you compare and see the change in percentage, that means 37 to 25. So it's 12 divided by 25. I can say there can be a 50%. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no? There
Yes,
can
sir.
be a 50% change if you look at the lower limit. Now, my question is from 25, it can go up to 37. Okay. And from 37, it can come down to 25 as well. So, students, the volatility, we call this as volatility. Do you think the volatility level is little higher? What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes,
Because
sir.
the volatility is very higher. So just keep this knowledge for yourself, because when you're writing your answers, you need to be very much connecting the, I can say, the beta factors, because it's very, very essential. Now, children, coming into the next one. So let's focus on the operating profit margins. Now, Meryl, if you see in 2020, the operating profit margin this company had was 41.37, correct? But
Yes, sir.
if you observe from the upcoming years, if you see the operating profit margin has relatively come to the standard of the market, correct? Because you
Yes.
see 34, 32, 33, so almost close by. But in 2020, it went really, really higher. So students, one thing you have to think about it. Currently, yes, it has come to a normal stage. But why was it 41.37 in 2020? What do you think, Meryl? Why do you think in 2020 it was 41.37?
Mm,
Anyone in the class? Students, it's very business oriented thinking. So why are you thinking like that? Hina, why do you think there is a 41.37 and suddenly it's
Has it?
okay? So Meryl, anything that you like to say? Others, you can also share your point of view. I'm
So
using
the software
Actually, the
reason only is
operating costs
coming.
were lower.
Yeah.
the software cost you are saying, but if you see, Meryl, the drop is only 8%, right? Now, if you
Yeah. Right.
observe here, the software cost was effectively 40.92. And if
Mm-hmm.
you observe here, the operational profit has just dropped by 8%. So that practical understanding is very important. Okay, I will come to that point. Now, students, again, you have not read these articles properly. Now, if you see the Courier Blues, they are telling one complaint also of Munch Bike. What was the complaint is sometimes they go like idling without anything. Do you understand what I'm saying, Eric? Because
Yes, sir.
the Courier Blues, it was mentioned that there are certain chances that you don't get any orders although you go to the place. So
Hmm.
in case, what happens is they may be faster. They may be faster. Okay. But the problem that arises is although they are faster, Meryl, there are situations that sometimes they are not having orders. You understand what I'm saying, Meryl?
Yeah.
Some
Right.
are not having orders. And also, Meryl, if you also see here, they are always having orders during the football time. You understand what I'm saying, Meryl?
Yeah.
Like, well, they are saying there was a, though it to the cup final, I was local soccer team made it to the cup final. So one thing we need to be very careful is that although these companies are like they are having very fast processing in everything, The problem that arises here is sometimes they are not enoughly making the orders. Are you clear with what I am saying there, Meryl? So
Yes, sir.
they are not sometimes capitalizing that speed. So I will just mention that point as well. Software cost comes into that, but still I will come into the next one. In some occasions, Munch Bike would have been better, and sometimes they may not have orders. Example, during football season, they have peak orders. And in off season, the demand drops. So one more thing, Meryl, just to make sure, is that if you see the 33% and 32, 34, so I'll write down here, Snack wheel is operating based on past data, correct?
Yeah.
Therefore, they are more structured and risk averse. Are you clear with that, Meryl? Munch
Yes.
Bike is not risk averse. Munch Bike is a risk aggressive organization. Are you getting that point of view?
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And one more thing, students, I wanted to say here on this 40.29 and 90, this 13.85. One thing, Meryl, is, can you remember a classic example that in the software that is used by Snack Wheel, they do not have the option for favorite items. They, if you want pizza, you need to scroll down to the last section. Can you remember
Right.
that?
Yes, sir.
I
Remember.
write that as one point, so I'll write down here. Example in Snack software. In Snack software, there are situations. Where the company is making the customers to scroll down rather than having favorite tab. Now, if you see Uber Eats, they have the favorite tab. Correct, no, Meryl, if I'm not mistaken. Now,
Yeah.
you see the Uber transport app also sometimes will predict the areas that you travel. If you're traveling
Yeah.
every day for the same workplace, it will show that. So students, that's an understanding at the moment. So this is giving a better clarity. So that's one more reason there is a drop here. And further, they would have invested on the software. So I'll just write down another thing. Software investment would have affected the margins. We'll stop. Okay. Now coming to the profit before tax margin. Now, if you see profit before tax margin, it's going in the same line. Correct, no, Meryl? Because
Yes, sir.
it's almost the same line. So what I can observe here is, at the moment, what the transition has taken place is this is slowly transforming into a Wolfgang sector. Do you understand what I'm saying there, Meryl?
Yes,
Because
sir.
both the companies have understood that if we form a rivalry between each other, consumers will gain, couriers will gain. So it's always better that we have a standard rates for our couriers, we have a standard rates for our consumers, and sustain the industry. Are you clear with that, Merit?
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down here, students, the understanding point of view. The profit before tax, the profit before tax margins have come very much closer, which indicates that the Wolfgang sector is formed in West area. Are you clear with that, Merit? Because
sir.
in West area now they have understood with all experiments. If you go like this will be just an example. I want to say, Meryl, if you look at this hotel industries, the five-star hotel industries, you see every room is same. Have you observed that, Meryl? Rooms are
Yeah.
same. There are no differences. That's a clarity of that Wolfgang sector. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
They
sir.
will charge the same price. They will always have everything same. Room also same, but only differentiation is marketing and the service excellence. So students,
Yes.
even profit for the year goes with that same structure at the moment. So I believe this is a clear picture for you all. So students, now before moving into the ROC, ROI, just wanted to ask students any questions you have, you can ask me. If you are clear with the explanation until now, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? And any additional information which I missed, you can please add to me as well. You can use the chat box, or you can block the video. You can ask me to stop and explain your point. So students, I believe this gives you a better clarity at the moment. So it's a good understanding and a good picturization. So coming here, ROCE 6.1, 4.83, 5.97, and 6.15. Now, if you see Merrill, the problem arises in the ROC, I'll tell you, because ROCE or the ROI, technically you can say that's fine. But when it comes to the deep discovery, the problem with this is, Merrill, now ROC, ROI, the formula is what? Operating profit divided by the total equity plus the non-current liabilities, correct? That is the debt.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you see, students, non-current liability can be adjusted by repayment, correct? No, Merrill? Yes or no? You
Yes,
can
sir.
repay that. There can be a repayment working. And even if you see, equity also can be adjusted. One is through revaluation. You can do revaluation, right, Meryl? You can do the
Yeah.
revaluations and increase the equity, or you can do a bonus issue, because bonus issue generally is capitalized, so equity, or the rights issue. Or another thing is, if you want, you can also give a dividend, correct, Meryl?
Yeah.
So challenge arises here. So let's just see. Here they have made a repayment, and also students, you observe the this dividend carefully and see 113. Do you see here, Mary? 113. Do you observe what I'm saying here? The dividend is 113. Agree, no, Meryl? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Yeah.
or no? So this 113 dividend that they have paid, you can clearly observe it is very much clear that from 113, and if you see 230, there is a, I can say, dividend payout. I think I have calculated that is coming at 49.13. So the dividend payout is 49.13 percentage. So Merrill, still there is a high chance that this ROC of 6% can be good, but still I can say this also can have a manipulation factor. Are you clear with what I'm saying there, Merrill?
Yes, sir.
Because that cannot be a correct judgment till now. So students, any questions you have, you can ask me. If you are clear with the technical judgment of ROCE, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? Because the technical judgment plays a very critical role here. The technical judgment, because remember carefully, they can manipulate the ROCE as you want. You can always manipulate the ROCE. So you can't say a good company or a bad company other than this. So let's come into the application, students. So coming into the application, You see 6.1, 4.83, 5.97, and 6.15. But my question here is, Merrill, now software businesses generally should generate more ROCE practically. What do you think, Merrill?
Yes,
Software,
sir.
because their physical assets are minimal, agree, minimal.
Yeah.
They do not have production. That's what directly it's coming to operating profit. But I still say 6.1, 4.83, and 4 point. Now, even if you see the ROI, all are going in that range. It's going in that range. So my question here is, the market in West area, do you think currently has become very much saturated? What do you think, Meryl? Because we have three players who are known, but there can be other players who are unknown as well. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So students, I will write down here, ROC and ROI is less for a software, or I can say for an app based business, since the overheads are less. Therefore, we can understand that the sales commission charged is a low amount. Are you clear with what I'm saying there, Meryl? Yes or no? It's
Yes,
not
sir.
a higher amount, it's a very lower amount. This is mainly because of rivals in the market. So I'll just write down here, example, truck bites. Correct, because truck bites is again another, I can say, a competitor who has not been physically shown, and also there can be other players as well, students, are you getting this point of view? 6.10 is not a big one. Example, if they sell $100 or $100, you are getting only six. For $100 you are getting only six. So students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this, students? Meryl, are you clear with this? Any points you all like to say, please let me know, students. But get this application very, very well, because it's very important, students. Now, even you observe the asset turnover. Now, even if you see asset turnover, it's 0.17. Now, in a app-based business or a software business, generally it should be more than 50%. Are you understanding? Now, Meryl, can you tell me some assets that what we have in this organization? What assets do we have?
The property, plant, and equipment, goodwill, and software.
No, that property, plant, and equipment. What is their property, plant, and equipment?
Mm,
What do you think are their property, plant, and equipment? That is my question.
mm, their platform.
Platform is software. System is software. Can you remember we had, I can say, hardware? No, we had a Black Kitchen. Yes, Black Kitchen is correct. Black Kitchen is a correct answer. And then they had something called a hot backup site. Can you remember? We had a data center, we had a hot backup site. So that can fall under the property, plant, and equipment at the moment. So Meryl, what I can effectively say is most of our property, plant, and equipment are generally administration property, plant, and equipment. Are you clear with what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it does not involve with the service. Are you understanding? Or simple
Yeah.
English, I can say back office. These
Right.
all
Back
are
office.
items. Students, so get the observation clearly. These are not front office, all these are back office. Generally, back office utilization is less in practical. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, example, Meryl, you go for a PVR cinema. When you go for PVR cinema, theater, the cinema theater section will be always full, but the back office section where they have the digital devices are always underutilized. Correct, no, Meryl, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. No
Right,
one's.
sir.
So students, can I just come to that application if I'm not mistaken? So I'll write down here. The assets are generally the administration asset, the administration assets. Example like data center, hot backup site, get this understanding clearly. And also the dark kitchen, okay, they have the dark kitchen as well. So this clearly says, and one question, do we own fleet of vehicles? Do we have any ownership of fleet of vehicles?
No, no, sir.
Students, no, right? Can I get a confirmation? Or even the full-time employees, do they come with their own scooter? That is a question. I'm getting some answers. Only one person has responded.
I think for the full-time employees, they are only reimbursing a fuel, not the
Correct.
vehicle reimbursement. So there should be a own vehicles. The company should own some vehicles.
Correct. So companies are owning some vehicle, right? If I'm not mistaken. So little tricky, that area is little tricky. They are not owning. So that is fine. So that is the point of view, students, because all of our assets are administration. And one more thing, Meryl, just to ask you a question. These data centers, hot backup site, all, do you think all are small investments or high investments? Frankly speaking, high investment. Are you clear with what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So coming to the gearing ratio is 13, 12, 15, and 16.53. That's a good, I can say, healthy gearing ratio. So I'll write down here, healthy gearing ratio maintained by both the firms, which has a scope, for higher borrowing, because if you want, you can borrow as well. Fine. And also the interest cover, I can say again, healthy interest cover, since they are able to settle the interest on time with sufficient capacity, that also looks fine, students. So coming to the current ratios are almost above. Quick ratios you can't compare. Why? Because we do not have what?
Inventory.
So I'll write down here, the business nature exclude inventory. The business nature exclude inventory. So there won't be any factors there. So again, the inventory days are also 0. So the business nature exclude inventory. Then business nature exclude inventory, because we are just an intermediary. As I told you in the last class, we are a support service only. So current ratio, if you see 2.2, 2.58, 1.87, 3.91. So I can generally say the current ratios are stable. Frankly speaking, stable, because students, 2:1 logic is technical, but if you see here, they are almost stable. So nothing to worry about. The trade receivable days. Now coming into the trade receivable days is a bigger challenge. Now trade receivables, who are our trade receivables? Can someone tell me who are our trade receivables at the moment? Restaurant. Now if you see, Meryl, get the understanding properly. Now if you see, we are not giving any service on credit, first thing, because we generally collect, our app correct, if I'm not mistaken. Our app collects the money. So the trade receivables are, I can generally say, the payment gateway. What do you think, Meryl? Yes or no? the payment gateway where the bank will process the funds. Now, I also have a doubt in practical terms, students, payment gateway will give you the money within 3 days. That is the truth. Okay, Mary. But here it is going for 30 days, 32 days, 44 days. Now, if you see one thing, Meryl, we are delivering the goods. So when you are delivering the goods, one is our drivers are collecting the money. And
Yeah.
when we are delivering the goods, the customers are paying to our app. So it comes to us, not to the
Restaurant.
restaurant. So restaurants are trade payables, drivers are trade payables, but here the trade receivables is effectively 32 days, 32 days and 44 days. Payment gateway of the bank, I can completely agree on that. Other than that, what can be the trade receivables? Can you all think, students? Can you just think other than that? Because get this understanding model very clearly. Because other than that, yes,
So
There's
maybe the vouchers we give to the customers from which they can buy later, something like that.
excellent, excellent. So I will write down that as well. The free, the free offers that has been given to the customers. That's a correct answer, because there are sometimes a deferred income, or I can say these are like we attract the customers by giving them the free offers, whether they are taking or not taking. Abhiraj, you were telling something.
no, the actually Snak will accepting the cash payment as well, right, for food delivery sometimes. So during that, the cash payment will be held by the riders, right? They will make the payment after 1 or 2 days, right? Isn't it?
Yes, but how does it goes to 32 days?
32 days. Okay.
That was the question here. Even the payment or the bank or the riders will must give the money within 3 days. But the
Yes.
thing is, like how that is go to 32 days. That's the biggest challenge in thinking. Very biggest challenge in thinking.
So the
We can
vouchers is like a good example because we generally give that expiry date, right, of 1 month or 15 days, say. So
correct.
that makes sense when it comes to 32 days.
That is also correct. But I am getting one answer. Corporate clients orders food and paying late. Can there be a situation of corporate clients? That's a good point. Can I make a note? That's the correct answer. Because students, you see, most of the deliveries are done for office. Correct, Meryl? Yes or no?
Hmm.
So can
Yeah.
there be a situation corporate officers are giving accounts for their people to order food and they will settle it later? So I
So
can
do
write,
we have something like mentioned in the pre-scene where?
yes,
Okay.
it is mentioned. So I'll show it to you. So it is mentioned. The case, can someone, if you know that place, you put it, but I can remember there was a place where they mentioned that majority of the customers are office workers.
No problem, sir. I'll search it
No,
out.
when they mentioning that to permanent employees, riders,
Yes.
they have mentioned the morning from 6 to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock or something.
Correct.
They used to
Correct.
deliver more city centers or something like that.
Correct. For example, 6 to 9. So it was mentioned, it's there. So they have clearly mentioned relating to that. So I will just write down here. So another point of view is
Yes, they are in the page number 8, bottom.
page number 8, no?
Yeah,
Page
on the
number
bottom.
page
8
number
and
8
bottom.
it has been mentioned. Uh, so they say
The city center usually have a large number of
the
office
city
workers who wish
centers
to order the passport delivery from us.
large number of office workers who wish to order fast food for lunch. So that city center, they would have corporate clients. So I'll write down here corporate clients in the city center, in the city center. Are you clear with that, Meryl?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing, students, is the dark kitchen. Now, if you see the dark kitchen facility, they will pay the rent once in month. Correct, no, Meryl?
Yeah.
So can I write down here dark kitchen facility, dark kitchen facility payments? Correct? Because
Yes, sir.
that will be one more reason why it is going for 30 odd days. Abhiraj, is that fine? Because when they are using the dark kitchen, which is deployed by the app company, that app company will charge in a 1 month concession time. Clear?
Yes, yes, yes.
So dark kitchen is the critical point. I think that is the main point. Correct, no, Meryl? I think that should be the main point because
Sir, I'm confused with one thing here. We said property, plant, and equipment. We can count dark kitchen also in that. So
yes,
if we are paying rent for it, how can we consider it as PP?
correct. No, you property, plant, and equipment is rental to others also. No, that is the standard. No,
Okay.
there is no use. No, correct. No, it's an asset where you are giving it to other people to work for that, and you are charging money.
Okay. So there is no need of owning it.
No, they would have owned that, and they would have given it to a third party because it's
Okay.
anyway in the center of the thing. No?
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Okay, so students, cash cycle is directly here. So students, one thing you need to be very careful is the dark kitchen. So I'll write down here indirectly the app is connecting the dark kitchen. So one of the ratio analysis learning outcome is the dark kitchen. So students, please be careful and vigilant related to the dark kitchen because that is very, very important. And coming to the payable days here, it is going with 45, 43, 60, and 81. So payable days is the time you take to settle your restaurant partners. Are you clear with that, Merit?
Yes,
And
sir.
payable days are the time that you take in order to settle your couriers also. Are you clear with that? Because some
Yes.
companies may be paying the full-time employees after the timing of 45 days or 43 days. So I'll write down here the time taken to settle the restaurant partners, the restaurant partners and the courier drivers, restaurant partners and the courier drivers get this point of view very clearly. So a positive sign is this organization is having a cash flow because you see you collect money within 32 days and you settle it within 45 days, so excessively you are having a 13 days extra time. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Meryl?
Yes,
Because
sir.
it will take 32 days to collect money from your customers, but if you want to pay your suppliers you are taking 45 days. So I'll write down here the business system is very much sustainable, that is the point of view here. And the EPS, students, I just did it, so it's going with 3.29 and 2.36 to 3.16. So I'll just mention EPS, DPS, so I'll just write down here just an indication of the profit and the dividend per share. dividend per share. But the dividend payout comes to a bigger thing. Now here they are paying a higher dividend payout. So my concern here, why they are paying higher dividend payout is they want the shareholders to invest more to the system. Are you clear with that, Meryl? Because
sir.
that's the main reason they are doing so. Frankly speaking, students, this sector can have any time a shakeout. There is high chances, but you need to be very vigilant on how you are going to position yourself. But frankly, remember one thing, the dark kitchen utilities. So I'll just take that page also so that it gives you very clarity here. This is the dark kitchen idea they have given, but I just want to say they have 23 dark kitchen facilities, okay, which accommodate a total of 68 separate dark kitchen operated by various fast food chain. Are you clear with that, Meryl?
Yes, sir.
And they are saying 190 separates catchment areas covering every town. Chains often have multiple branches in town, so does not have to serve every branch located. So catchment area is the place where the items are picked up. So you see they are having these as an idea. So my concern here is this 23 dark kitchen facilities is the next changing over business. What do you think, Mary? Because
Yeah.
if you see, anyone can start a application. That's easy, but it will take a lot of time to set up these dark kitchen facilities. Are you understanding that? Because the company with the highest dark kitchen facility can generally be the first mover or the market leader in the future. So remember that dark kitchen because it's very important and essential. So I think that we have done a good stable analysis, but my concern here is Munchbike is investing more. That is the major idea that we need to keep in mind. Munchbike is investing more, and we are not at all considering the customer's request. Like they're saying that your app, you need to scroll down. We spend more time in searching the food we want, but they are saying that's how you need to do because we have a system. The payer who pays the highest will always get the placement in the top, correct? So those things can effectively affect the business. Are you clear with that points what I'm saying there, Meryl?
Yes, sir.
So students, question and answer session. So let's start going through. So Meryl, any questions you have?
So just one question. When we are paying our employees courier service, right? So is it coming under operating cost?
Yes, it is coming under operating cost, direct operating cost.
Okay.
Hina, any questions?
No, sir, no question. Thank you.
Jay Ganesh, any questions?
No, sir.
Kavya, any questions?
No, sir. No.
Yanendran, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Abhiraj, any questions?
No questions. Thanks.
Yamini, any questions?
Hi, sir. I just have one very small question. How did you calculate EPS, sir?
Very simple. The EPS calculation is number of shares. Now, in this
Yeah.
question, they have given the total number of share capital. So, in the UK, the ordinary share is generally $1. So, $1 per share. So, if you see, if it is 1,000 means they would have multiplied 1,000 shares into $1. So,
Okay.
I got the 3,316 divided by 1,000. 236 divided by 1,000, and also I was able to find out the DPS also the same 110 divided by 1,000,
I was struggling with the number of shares part.
because here also it's 1,000 there is no change, so they
Okay.
have not gone for a share issue in between the period.
Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. I was actually worried about that. Thank
No
you.
problem. Welcome. So the next person, Tatenda, any questions? Mr. Rikas, any questions?
No, Mr. Well, thank you.
Thank you. So, students, Nelly, any questions? I think
No
Nelly.
questions, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. So, students, thank you very much for your time. I'll meet you on the Sunday morning class. Take care, students.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.